Want to thank you for joining us in the 11 Breaking News Center this afternoon. I'm Lauren Watson, your digital anchor here at KKTV 11 News, and I'm here today with Steve Carlton. He's the clinical director of Porchlight Health and Front Range Clinic, and we're here today to talk a little bit about Men's Health Month. Now, Steve, why is it so important to address this?
Well, there's a few reasons. So, with men's health and men's mental health in particular, which is what we're going to talk about today, there's a few things we see in men that's different when you look at men versus women, right? And it's not great news, right? So, one of the main headlines is sort of men are more likely to die by suicide. Men are more likely to suffer from things like substance use disorder. And they're much less likely to seek treatment for things like depression, right? And so there's still in our cultures a lot of stigma and a lot of male culture that makes it difficult for them to reach out for help and to talk about what's going on in their lives. So that's what we're talking about and here to talk about today.
Yeah, and on that point, some symptoms of mental health issues can manifest differently in boys and men than people might think. What does that look like? And can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at depression in particular, that we know there's about 6 million men in the US that struggle with depression, and it does look different for men, right? Most often it comes out in irritability and anger, right? Like so anger and irritability, like it's a really common sign of depression, especially if that is a mood change that's been recent, right? You like prior to that, there really wasn't much irritability or anger, and now there is. Another big warning sign is all of a sudden not doing or not enjoying those activities you used to enjoy. So if you used to enjoy golfing, you used to enjoy fly fishing or spending time with your family, cooking dinner with them, and all of a sudden those are all like a chore. You're feeling a weight with doing them that you didn't feel before. That can also be a sign of depression. And then just physiological, like feeling low energy, right? Having trouble sleep. These types of things are all indicative of depression.
Why is it so important to talk about this early?
Well, it's the solution to depression, right, and the way out of it is and always will start with talking about it, opening up, acknowledging there's a problem. So in therapy, more often than not, the skills that you'll be working on, if you go that route, is mindfulness, increasing awareness. So there's 4 things that we can increase our awareness of, like our 5 senses, right? Smell, taste, touch, sound, our thoughts, right? What thoughts are going through our head? Our emotions, what labeling and understanding sort of what are the feelings that we're experiencing. And then lastly, what are the physiological symptoms? So really starting with those 4 things and just bringing a non-judgmental observation of them is a great place to start.
A lot of times people kind of struggle with talking about things like this, and if they don't want to talk about it, what can we do to help?
Well, I think it is a struggle to talk about, and I think the message I would send to people is it's kind of that 10,000-pound phone, right? If you've ever had a message that was on your phone that you've been ignoring for days, and then it turns into a week, and then before you know it, it's 2 weeks, and you need to call that person back. It just gets harder and harder to make that call. So what people really need to think about is just kind of ripping that Band-Aid off and opening up and telling somebody that you're struggling. That's where it starts. Once you give voice to it, like it gets easier to continue to give voice to it, right? Avoidance of these types of things is a really natural, normal human response to these types of things. And anytime you can push back on that and open up, talk about it, acknowledge it's happening, that's going to be a win, and that's going to be a step in the right direction. And with depression in particular, there is such a physiological state to it. So I don't want to minimize that. If people are really profoundly depressed, that is an incredibly difficult journey, right? It is very difficult to overcome that and to engage in life in a meaningful way. And finding a therapist, finding support talking to family, friends, great places to start.
Now, if someone is looking for help with these issues, where can they find that?
Yeah. So I think the other notable thing, what we do at Porchlight Health is we treat substance use disorders. So oftentimes when men in particular experience mental health issues, they turn to alcohol or other drugs to medicate that, right? And so then the substance use sort of becomes the symptom of this underlying mental health issue. But seeking out help at Porchlight Health, if it has manifested into a substance use disorder, is a great first step. If it is sort of a mental health condition, and that's primary, I think starting with your primary care physician is a great place to start. If you're thinking about taking your life, if you're thinking about suicide, there's other great resources. 988 is a good first step, but if you're experiencing thoughts of suicide or ending your life like that, that's really critical that you tell somebody that. And if you're a family member of somebody and you're worried about them, it's really important that you ask the open question. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? If people are making statements that make you worried about that, ask the question.
Steve, a very important, very heavy topic we've discussed here today. Is there anything we haven't touched on yet that you think is very important for our viewers to know, or that you wanted to leave our viewers with this afternoon?
No, I think the opposite of addiction and mental health is connection, right? And there is help available out there if you seek it out. And I think that's what I'll leave people with. You're not alone. Again, 6 million men in the country suffer from depression. Upwards of 10 to 15 struggle with substance use disorder. These are really common problems, and if you seek help and you get connection, like there's really great tools and resources and skills out there that can be helpful.
Steve, thank you so much for taking the time, to meet with me this afternoon and to share this information with our viewers.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.